Imagine for a moment that all the cash in the United States was gathered in one place. In July 2025, this mountain of banknotes and coins is worth over $2.4 trillion. Each banknote weighs only 1 gram, but with more than 55 billion banknotes, the total weight would reach 55,400 tons. That's heavier than the Eiffel Tower. This pile of cash would be so tall that it would exceed the height of the Burj Khalifa by more than 3 times. 2. If we turned the entire $2.4 trillion into gold, at today's price of almost $3,700 per ounce, we could purchase over 20,000 tons of gold. That's enough to cover a football field 138 feet deep. Or, if we prefer Ferraris, at an average price of $243,000 for a Ferrari Roma, this fortune would buy almost 10 million Ferraris. That's enough to fill up parking lots at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 5 races in a row. 3. At the beginning of the pandemic, the Federal Reserve created $3.2 trillion of new cash. The richest people used it to buy mansions, like the one Kanye West once called home for $60 million, or 51% of the newly created cash. Others bought entire islands, like Jeffrey Epstein's Little St. James, for $77 million. But for the rest of us, life hasn't been so lucrative. According to official data, the median income for a full-time worker was $1,041 a month in July 2023. Down 3.3% from June and down 2.3% from a year ago. So what can we buy with this monthly salary? Well, not much really. One Bay Area rent, an iPhone 15 Pro Max, 10 MacBook Airs, or almost a Tesla Model 3. These are all things the average worker needs and wants, but can't afford. This situation reflects the current state of our economy, where real wages have been declining for several years. 4. According to the Economic Policy Institute, since December 2022, the average worker's purchasing power has fallen by 4.6%, mainly due to inflation. Meanwhile, the stock market has seen a different trend. From January to July 2023, the S&P 500 increased by 14.2%. This suggests that the benefits of economic growth are not being distributed equally, and that raises concerns about inequality and the effectiveness of economic policies. 5. Despite these challenges, there are still some bright spots. Unemployment remains low, and the number of job openings is higher than the number of unemployed people. There are signs that wage growth is accelerating, and indicators suggest that inflation is under control. Some economists even predict that the United States could avoid a recession and continue growing. However, others warn that the Federal Reserve's monetary policy could lead to a slowdown. So the outlook for the economy remains uncertain and raises questions about whether the average worker will ever be able to buy a house, a car, or even basic necessities without going into debt. $2.4 trillion is a lot of money. It can buy a lot of things, but it can also reflect the challenges and disparities of our time. Hopefully, this money will be used wisely to improve the lives of people around the world. That's all for now. See you next time.